After 9 years of speculation and guessing for a franchise that stretches back all the way to 1995, Toy Story and the guys at Pixar have finally gave out the fourth one, despite the third one ended perfectly okay. After it's laden with critics who loved it to bits and made a killing in the box office, everyone liked it. It's so much so that it lost its spirited away in the Chinese box office. I'm not joking. I found a link in, just go to the link description below, because Spirited Away beats Toy Story 4 in China. It's an interesting story, just check it out below. Hello, my name's Elijah Wells and today's review is Toy Story 4. The story is taking place only months after the third film. Bonnie's getting used to her new toys and starts her kindergarten, which is the first year at school from America, because I don't know, I'm British. And makes a new friend, literally, called Faruqi. And of course, he thinks he's trash and has both internal and an external crisis. Whilst that happens, Bonnie's family goes on a road trip, and Woody feels sidelined after not being played with Bonnie enough. And of course, they go on a road trip, and Bonnie and Woody cut themselves from the group. Kind of like the 3 films, where Woody somehow cuts himself from the rest of the group. Of course, what really interests me in the caravan scene before Forky cuts himself from the group, along with Woody, is they pretty much talk about subconsciousness, since throughout the film, Buzz Lightyear presses his buttons on his spacesuit, pretty much as a voice in his head. Well, knowing that Inside Out and Toy Story are in the same universe, so toys don't have 5 emotions in their head? Okay, seems like everyone has an internal crisis after all. Yay! But of course, they find Bo Peep, who's been missing for 10 or so years. And of course, they had to go to the antique store, which is run by Gabby Gabby, her porcelain dummies, and Canada's most daring stunt double, voiced by Keanu Reeves, Kaboom! The one thing that surprised me about Kaboom is about his backstory, where he was rejected on the first impression for just general misleading advertising, where he just crashed into a target, literally. The one thing that surprised me, being Keanu Reeves being a Canadian, is that he doesn't speak a lot of French. I'm not sure if anyone's Canadian or experienced Canada firsthand, but is it me, or is it mandatory to speak French, or is it just Quebec? Imagine if I was a French-speaking channel. Who knows? Bonjour, je m'appelle Elijah Wells. Ça va? Ça va bien? J'ai 21 ans. Je vais de critique de film Composto. Also along the ride is Ducky and Bunny, voiced by Keegan-Michael Keaton and Jordan Peele, the family-friendly director behind Us and Get Out, because nothing says child-friendly like brain surgery by white families and your doppelgangers stalking you on your holiday. As I said, this movie was of course teasing an emotional impact. You can literally feel it, and it comes rather unexpectedly at the end. You thought they're going to make this decision that you morally think is going to be right, but then okay, that makes sense if you pay attention throughout the whole film. Like, okay, you do you. But I think the biggest emotional drive is what happening to Bo Peep where she's been. Well, the opening scene when they're trying to save their racing car in the torrential rain, and it turns out that Bo Peep is going away to be never to be seen for 10 years. I felt like, so this is where she's been for the last 10 years. Or if by release time it'll be 20 years. Because continuity is dumb. Of course, the writing, especially in the caravan scene where they talk about inner voices, it's particularly in the van. I think Gabby also is somewhat this misunderstood antagonist who isn't really an antagonist in this film. She's just somewhat misunderstood. She always wanted to have someone to be with, like a child, but her voice box, like the little string that pulls and says something like, "I'm Gabby Gabby, I want to be your friend." Not creepy, but it's kind of the way that she's just feels so tortured, so weighed down just because of that. It feels like this this connection to something like mental health, like being over expecting yourself, or to the point that it's kind of somewhat of depression and somewhat isolation. It depicts throughout the film. But of course, it does relieve it with a lot of humour, like when Bunny and Ducky, of course, go through their plans. That all involve attacking the old lady, because nothing says family fun like attacking the old ladies. At least Captain Marvel style, but yeah. The animation, particularly in the rain scene, where it's all torrential, it's so photorealistic. Yeah, with all this massive amount of rain, especially it's so difficult. If you can't think about it in like computer animation, rain has something to be difficult. It's like this tiny lumps of water coming from the clouds, just splashing violently into the crowds. Yeah, some will just corner cut it by just making the scenery wet and the trees like more wavy and along the grass. It actually just bounces off the humans, like bounces off the objects like rain. I feel like there's no corners that were cut during that scene. The animation, like I said, is pretty anti-corner cutting. I feel like they really put their heart and soul into this project, even though it took like 9 years to like get off the ground after Toy Story 4. The writing's brilliant. The direction is well done is really up there with Pixar standards. Although I actually really enjoyed this movie, it's a worthy addition to the Toy Story franchise. Although it's a 8 or 9 out of 10, depending on how the film would stick to me, but it's maybe on my top 5 of the year. But all in all, I recommend you seen it. You should see it. I don't care what you have plans for this week, but you need to see it because it is worthy for it. And this is Elijah Wells, and bye.